And then Arsenal came about. What age were you when that came about?
I was just determined to be like top goal scorer in the league, top goal scorer in my team. So, because we're on Sky Sports, like, I think if the girls that are older than me now say that if they had what we had now, it would be so much better for them. We've had a few meetings like with Brendan Rodgers, for example.
At Leicester, I wanted to ask how much of an overlap is there between like sort of the men and women's team? How did you first get into football? Was it through family or was it something that you got into sort of individually?
It was definitely through family. So like all my cousins would play. I have pretty much most of my family are boys, so it was hard not to be like
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, and on that, I saw an interview with Lauren James. I'm not sure if you know, who plays for Man U, Reece James's cousin. And she was talking about how she found it kind of hard to get into football at a young age, being a girl, and there wasn't maybe as much opportunity as there would be if she was a boy. Did you find it similar or?
Uh, Not really, because I was always playing football, like as I said, with my cousins and stuff, and then I just joined the boys team,
Right.
so it wasn't that hard for me.
How was that playing with a boys team? Did you find it sort of physical? Did you find it helped you to hone your technical skill a bit more?
Yeah, definitely. I'm more of a technical player, so I think I got that through playing with boys, and also I'm quite strong, so
Okay.
yeah.
And then Arsenal came about. What age were you when that came about?
I think I was 15.
15. Okay.
Yeah, I was at Arsenal till I was 17.
And how did Arsenal actually come about? Was it like a trial? Did you get scouted?
Yeah, I went to a trial and then I got into the trial.
What was your mindset going into that trial like?
I'd say to just like do the best that I can do, like portray my skills to show like why I should be in that team.
And did you play for a Sunday league team before that? Or was it straight from?
No, it wasn't a Sunday league team. It was a team called Middlesex. So we did play against the teams like Arsenal, Chelsea, Birmingham. Yeah.
Right. So did you find it overwhelming at all, sort of going from that environment to obviously Arsenal, one of the biggest clubs in the world? Did you find it a bit overwhelming to begin with?
Yeah, definitely. But I didn't let that get to me when I was in that situation. So I would
Right.
be overwhelmed at home, but not when I got to training.
And in one of your seasons at Arsenal, it might either the first or second, you got 15 goals in the same number of the games in the youth league.
Yeah,
What was that like?
that was my last season at Arsenal. So I just wanted to do the best that I could do
Right.
to even get into the first team. Also, I was just determined to be like top goal scorer in the league, top goal scorer in my team. So my determination got me there.
And I read that you scored twice against Man United in the cup final. You won 5-0. What was the feeling
Yeah,
like after that?
yeah, it was a good feeling because we had more fans. It was a cup final, so it meant more. Um, yeah, it just gave me a chance to just show what I can do.
And after like excelling at youth level, you got your first senior appearance off the bench in the Continental Cup. What was your feelings like? Obviously, coming into a serious senior game at the age of 16.
Yeah, I was very overwhelmed. I was happy that Arsenal gave me the opportunity to have my debut, and I enjoyed every moment of it.
Was that something that you were a bit frustrated with at Arsenal, maybe not getting as much senior opportunity as you would have liked to?
I wouldn't say frustrated. I'd just say that I guess it just wasn't my time. It
Right.
just wasn't me.
So looking back on making the move to Leicester, 100 miles north, alone at the age of 16, was it?
17.
17. What was that like?
Yeah, that was crazy. But I guess you gotta make decisions during your career that what are best for you, whatever's best for you. I think you should do.
Yeah, like you always read about the sacrifices you have to make for football, but obviously when it actually happens to you, it must be pretty mental. How encouraging was it to get off to such a great start at Leicester at senior level straight away, 6 goals in the 1920 campaign, straight away, just bag it in.
Oh, yeah, it definitely was like it was good for me to do that, to portray that like I can play at senior level, to like prove people who didn't think I could wrong.
Yeah. What was the main difference between going from obviously youth level to the senior?
I'd say it's just understanding the game, being more experienced. Like, for example, like time wasting, stuff like that. You learn so much off of older people who you're playing with as well.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the coverage of the obviously the Women's Super League and women's first team football, because obviously I think this season they've started to up it a little bit. 22 live games this season on the BBC from the WSL. Do you think that there should be more coverage to sort of inspire young girls to get into the game?
Definitely, but I guess that they've done what they could do, which is still amazing because we're on Sky Sports. Like, I think if the girls that are older than me now say that if they had what we had now, it would be so much better for them. So it gives me a chance to become a role model for younger kids.
Yeah, because as you say, like if you weren't surrounded by people that love football from an early age, who knows, like you might have never started playing.
Definitely.
Yeah. How important was it to have a coach at Leicester that trusted you in the first team environment straight away?
Definitely is. That's the best thing that could have happened to me, that I had a manager that believed in me and still does believe in me. So I think young players my age need that, because it just gives you a chance to strive and just prove your worth. It's just very, very good.
You say that's important, like to have a coach that sort of doesn't get onto you after every mistake, right?
Yeah, it's definitely, because when you're young, you feel like, oh, if you make a mistake,
Yeah.
it's always. However, if your coach is backing you to say, well, no, you go again and you go again, then.
Yeah, I've had coaches like that in the past though, like shout at you after every mistake. It's definitely better if someone's backing you, like no matter how well you're playing and believes in you. And then following that, promoted from the Championship to the WSL in the 2021 season. What was so different to the season before that? Because you guys only dropped 7 points in the league all season.
I'd definitely say the recruitment was good. And I think we was all determined for one thing, and that was for promotion.
Right.
So,
And you yourself got Young Player of the Season, right?
yeah.
Was that sort of the moment that you sort of felt the sacrifice and moving at 17 paid off?
Definitely, I felt that. But then I also felt like I need to do more. I want to do more. Just because I've won Young Player of the Season doesn't mean I'm going to settle.
Yeah.
I want more.
Would you encourage players, young players, to take that risk like you? Because I can imagine moving away from family at 17 so far, like, must have been quite intimidating to start off with.
Yeah, however, if you believe in yourself, then definitely make that move. But if you're like 50-50, then you have the influence of your family, your friends to tell you like what decision, to help you with your decision. Whereas with me, I knew exactly what I wanted because I always believed in myself.
Definitely. At Leicester, I wanted to ask how much of an overlap is there between like sort of the men and women's team?
What do you mean by overlap?
Like, do you ever get to train with them? Do you see them around the club?
Also, we have their training ground now and they've got a new one.
Right.
So we don't really see them. However, we've had a few meetings like with Brendan Rodgers, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just inspired us, gave us a little chat, and we're planning on like integrating.
Is that something that you feel would benefit, having more of a connection between the two sides of the club?
Definitely, but Leicester, regardless, give the women exactly the same as the men.
Yeah, like Leicester, I've heard it's just a very well run club, and I saw you getting your award off the chairman. Obviously, the chairman takes great care of the club, and getting the rewards at both men's and female level. Um, Obviously, you guys have had sort of a difficult start to the campaign. What's your mindset right now after the first 5 games?
Um, I would I would say that like it's a learning curve, and people just gotta trust and wait for the process.
How much of a step up was it from the Championship to the Super League?
Yeah, definitely a big step up.
In
Big step.
in what ways?
It's physically more demanding, so you need to be much fitter. Little margins that you don't really need in the championship, you need in the WSL1.
How important do you think those sort of like um tactical sort of, I don't know, discrepancies between the best teams and maybe championship teams, how important do you think it is for young players to sort of, I don't know, get watching matches, start seeing that?
Definitely, but as if you are a young player and you're playing in a first team, you'll definitely be learning from the older players.
Yeah, like myself, I play semi-pro youth, and we played against, I don't know if you know Bromley. We played
Yeah,
against their under 23s, and I wouldn't say their individuals were better than us on the day, but the way they just moved around us, their sort of transitions, and we got battered because we just couldn't cope with their movement. So yeah, definitely,
little
we
margin.
yeah, little margins make all the difference at the top level. And what are your sort of short-term plans now?
Well, right now I'm injured, so it's definitely me
Oh,
getting
really?
playing on the pitch, and just to help the team out as much as I can.
How much of a
Uh,
setback was that then, getting injured?
oh yeah, it's been a setback, but it's a setback for a major comeback.
Yeah. And long-term plans? Do you have any sort of international dreams in mind?
Yeah, definitely I have international dreams in mind, but I just gotta trust the process.
Yeah.
Will come.